The Boy from Reactor 4 is a dark and twisted tale of secrets, lies, and adventures that takes readers on a high-stake treasure hunt from New York to Eastern Europe. It is Orest Stelmach's debut novel who joins me now. Welcome. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Jocelyn. It's great to be here.
The book does start in the United States and then takes you to the Ukraine and Russia. So tell us a bit about the plot at the very beginning.
The Boy from Reactor 4 is about Nadia Tesla. She's a single woman in New York, and her father died at a very young age. So as she tries to learn more about him, she learns that she may have an uncle in her father's homeland in Ukraine who may have left her $10 million. When she goes to Ukraine in search of these $10 million, she actually meets a boy from Chernobyl who has something much more valuable. And it's this secret and the boy that she wants to bring back to New York City while powerful and resourceful men are trying to prevent her.
Exactly. So in New York, she finds out that she has this mission she has to be on, but she runs into these, well, how would you describe them? Con artists?
I would say that they are criminals.
Criminals.
And then she runs into the government elements from various countries. And of course, in Ukraine, sometimes the criminal elements and the government elements mixed together, and they're the same entity.
Yeah, the book talks a lot about Ukraine and Russia, and it has some historical points in the book. So I wasn't sure how true to the fact that, especially during the Gestapo, I believe, control of Kiev. Is that right?
Yes. There are many historical references, and then there is a certain reference to current conditions in Ukraine and across the former Soviet Union, and that's all historically true. It's 100% fact. My plot is fiction, but the setting is very much factual. And what happened was, with the dissolution of the Soviet Union, as individual countries such as Ukraine became independent, the rule of law is not what we are accustomed to in the United States.
So true. It's a real page turner, and it takes Nadia through many parts of this country as well, and takes us to Connecticut. Now, does that come from your roots here in Connecticut?
That does indeed. I was born in Connecticut, and my parents were immigrants from Ukraine. And Nadia's journey, to a small degree, is a reflection of my journey, where Nadia has been bestowed this great gift of citizenship in the United States. She was born here. And she's trying to learn more about her ancestral heritage, and so she travels to Ukraine, and that's one of the themes of the book. She gets to see what her life might have been had her parents not immigrated to the United States. So it's sort of a mirror for her, and it's a reflection of my journey as a writer as well.
You talk about Chernobyl in this book, obviously, The Boy from Reactor 4.
Yes.
And you talk about what happened in Chernobyl. How did you learn more about what went on there? Because there are things in this book that I didn't know about Chernobyl.
There are things I didn't know about. So I initially was looking for a place that was the opposite of New York. I wanted a very dark place that would illuminate Nadia's present situation in New York and show her how wonderful it is. And I ended up reading between 20 and 25 pieces of nonfiction to learn about Chernobyl. There's a tremendous amount of video on the internet to learn about it. And I was so fascinated by it, I could not believe the elements of nature and the elements of rebirth that are really going on. And the stories of survival from the people who suffered there, it was just very inspirational.
But you also described the corruption in the Ukraine as she goes through her journey trying to find this treasure that we shouldn't really tell people, but the plot is interesting.
Thank
so
you.
She's on this journey to find this treasure hunt, but along the way she runs into a lot of corruption.
Yes, she does. And when the Soviet Union fell apart, there was this wonderful sense of freedom in these independent states that were formerly part of the Soviet Union. But unfortunately, when that central government fell apart, the rule of law really deteriorated, and there is such a difficulty getting by day to day that from the top down, this system of corruption really has persisted and has prevented the country really from blossoming into a very strong independent state.
Orest, why did you write the book?
First off, as a child, I was always inspired by the works of Alfred Hitchcock. So I love page turners, I love thrillers, I love the idea of a common person, in this case, an every woman, being put in extraordinary circumstances. And then secondly, the second major theme is it's really an ode to my parents for having immigrated, for having given birth to me here in the United States and giving me all these freedoms that I think so many Americans these days, we tend to take them for granted. And that's really the genesis of the book.
I too am an immigrant, and I feel the same way that you do. And I love the fact that you're a heroine, not a hero, in this book. And do you have another book coming out soon? And this book is out now.
It is out now.
And are you planning on writing another one?
The second one is written. It's called The Boy Who Stole from the Dead. And I'm 2/3 of the way through the third and last in the trilogy, which will be called The Boy Who Glowed in the Dark.
Excellent. So this is a trilogy.
It is.
All right. Again, the name of the book is The Boy from Reactor 4 by author Orest Stelmach. And Orest, thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me here, Jocelyn.
You're welcome. And coming up next, Chef Mary Lauren shares a quick and easy vegan dish. That's when Connecticut Style returns.